too. Great. So thank you all very much for joining us this evening. I'm Susanne Kitchens, and we just came back from the most incredible launch of our incredible company, Transact Card. And here's why we're all here tonight. I was invited to sit at a table, and I watched all of these incredible leaders, and every one of them came back to that table and continuously thanking Michael Zappa. And I was like, I better get on board with this guy, because if he's trained all of these leaders, this is something that I really wanted to take total advantage of. And he was gracious enough and said, yep, I'll train you. And really, it was going to be one-on-one. And then he came back and he said, well, is it just you? And I thought, no, I want my whole group. All right. So here we all are. And with that, I have to take a moment and introduce Annabelle Restrepo, who, oh my gosh, turned my life around and invited me into this incredible company. And yes, she's another one of those that were taught by Michael. So thank you, Annabelle, for joining us this evening.
My pleasure.
Good.
Thank you. Yes,
Good.
and you are all strap in your seatbelt.
Yeah.
Because that is going to zap us.
Well, so, and if you would like to do any kind of introduction with Zap, that'd be great. I mean, I'm probably, I guess everybody at that table knew you more than 5 years, but here's what I can tell you all. This gentleman unceasingly just makes himself available. People will stop him and ask him a question. We did powwows. We were sitting on the floor. Everybody was just piling in, trying to learn as much as they could from this gentleman. And I can't thank you enough, Michael, for taking the time. You will see how he just, the wisdom, the knowledge that pours out of him. And he'll talk about his mentor, that he had the best mentor ever. And I'm telling you, we're very fortunate to have you. And so I just want to turn it over to you, Michael, and thank you so much for joining us.
I so appreciate that, Susanne. And yeah, I want to give a shout out to you for taking the initiative to seek out the information that you want. I mean, they say that when the student's ready, the teacher appears. And as we spend time together, I would love to ask you guys to definitely take some notes and write some things down, especially what I call power quotes. I'll get into my story momentarily here so you guys can hear a little bit about my background, where I came from and what I've been doing in this amazing profession. But when I share some really witty expressions, just know that 99% of them I didn't make up, but I got 1%. I got a couple in here that I've come up with. I think I've come up with them on my own. Everyone's got to have a couple originals. As you become a mentor, you learn from other people, but then you ultimately become the total sum of the people that you are mentored by and that you work with. So, but yeah, please write down those quotes. When the student's ready, the teacher appears. And Annabelle was one of those students for me. I had the pleasure of meeting her. God, it was years ago. I try not to remember how many years ago everything was, try and stay in the present, but we met a while ago and we had the pleasure to work together. And Annabelle has by far been one of the most loyal and just dedicated, grateful, and just amazing pupils, mentees to work with. And it really, I've sat back for the past 5.5 months because I threw my hat in the ring here with Transact Card, because Annabelle's sponsor is somebody who I mentored years ago named Colette Daniels. Didn't only mentor her, I became her best friend. She became my best friend, and we were inseparable when we were building our last program. And just so you know, we put about 7,000 to 8,000 people in a network together, me, Colette, and then Annabelle and a whole team of leaders. We created a mastermind team. We created an organization where we got together for mastermind retreats. We spent time together, cooking meals together, breaking bread together. And that's why we call ourselves the Z family, not just the Z team, because we're so much more than a team. You know, when you start breaking bread with people and you start to really get into people's lives, and you're not just there for their Transact Card business. As a matter of fact, that's a small percentage of what a mentor is there for. You're there to help somebody in their whole life. And that's what my mentor was to me. And when he did that for me, I said, I've got to do that for other people. But yeah, Annabelle's been terrific. Annabelle, if you want to share some words, I would feel remiss if you didn't actually say a few words, because the only reason why I'm here on the screen with all of you on this screen is because of you, Annabelle, and I want to give credit where credit is due. Annabelle's doing an incredible job. She's rolled up her sleeves. She's unrecognizable from the woman I first met, and she was unbelievable when I first met her. That's how much she's improved, and she stepped up her game per se as a leader in the free enterprise industry. So take it away, Annabelle.
Thanks so much. And that is due to my mentor, Michael Zappa. He is my past changer. I can say, even though I have, been about 20 years in this arena, when I met Michael, it really was a game changer for myself. He talks the talks, he walks the walk. His music is always spot on. And when we say music is how he is, all you see is energy from this gentleman. And he's been through so much. He had a heart attack last year. And yet look at the beautiful spirit that he is, and the best father that a man can be. I respect him. I honor him. He's a man of God, a wonderful father, a wonderful friend, an amazing mentor. And he is just, for his age, his wisdom is just over the top. And he coined this thing with the path changers and the 7 pillars. And I have memorized them and take them everywhere with me. I take it very, very seriously. This is a man that lives those 7 pillars every single day. By no means is he perfect, but he's so humble. Haven't seen or met a man that just really strides forward and fosters edification. I mean, he's just beyond amazing. I love him so, so much. At any time, doesn't matter if it's even 2 a.m. If he's awake, he'll answer. And he's all heart. And he's been taught by the best, but he is the best. Honestly, you really are, Michael. So back to you.
You're still muted, Michael.
Oh, thank you, Annabelle. I appreciate that more than you know. Guys, let's just jump into this, but let's kind of set the table and let's set the stage. These won't be boring Zooms, I promise you. There's going to be things that are shared here that you've never heard before. Things that I'm proud of the fact that you've never heard before. I don't say that to pat myself on the back at all. I say that because, and Susanne really nailed this earlier. We just know each other for a short period of time, but I do have the greatest mentor that this industry has ever produced. And while I'm sitting here, I just cleaned out my storage unit when I was in Vegas, my uncle's storage, and my friend Esther Powers, who you guys probably know, one of our teammates, drove a U-Haul truck, a 5 by 8 foot truck back on the back of her Venza. And I have a book of Richard Call's books. This is called The Book on Multi-Level Marketing. This is priceless to me. I spent 6 years with this man. I'll get into my story in a second, but every single one of you should want to have this book, and I have enough. Right now, I've got a box full of them. Probably, I would guess about 75 left, and I won't have any more after this. So,
I don't want to.
yeah,
we all get one tonight, right?
You know what? Yeah, you text message me, and I will send each and every one of you the book on network marketing. But I can assure you, if we work together, everything you hear in here, you're going to hear through me. Like Annabelle, I took every single word this man said and I treated it like it was pure gold, and it paid me like pure gold. So the mentorship that I received from Mr. Call was really, you couldn't put a price tag on it. So, but what I was saying before, let's set the table right now to have an ongoing relationship with one another. Rest assured, if God willing, if something did happen to me, you know what I'm really grateful for? Colette, Annabelle, Lacey, Trish, Brian, Esther, you name Hallie, you name the leader on this team, they speak the same language. But we all do things a little bit different. We all say things a little bit different. And I'm happy to be able to share my version of what we call the Path Changer story and what we call the duplicate training and teaching. You guys will come to know all these terms over time. But I say we make this the first of many nights together, if that's cool with you. Mainly because when I met this man, he didn't sit down with me for 1 hour. I spent 6 years with him. So when I tell you I've probably forgotten more than most people know about this industry, I've probably forgotten more than most people know about this industry, but I've got so much to share with you in the form of basics. Everyone needs to know the basics. Annabelle calls it mastering the basics. If you've heard her speak, she teaches that. We'll start with the basics, and then guys, we'll start to get really deep, and we'll cover things from how to be more attractive, not just physically, but attractive in every way. A power quote around that. We'll talk about how to approach people. And I want to say this before we begin this session together and our time together. I don't claim to have all the answers. I'm not telling you I'm right and other people are wrong, but I will tell you what my mentor said to me. And I'll say it to each and every one of you. He said, Michael, he said, I'll work with you. Now, just so you know, Richard made over $100 million in network marketing. $100 million. He is known as the Michael Jordan and the Bill Gates of the network marketing industry. I haven't caught him yet. It's always been my goal to catch him. And even though Annabelle says great things about me and nice things, and I appreciate them, I've made millions, but I haven't made 100 million. And I don't think it really matters how much money you make. I think it's the impact you make on people, quite frankly. But the truth be told, results are everything. And when you could build an organization of hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of people, and all those people are shouting your name from the rooftop as being the reason why you've changed and why you've succeeded, to me, that's the goal. That's the goal of being a path changer. I want to go out there and affect positive, radical, and intentional change on as many people as I possibly can. This thing with Transact Card is not about Transact Card for me. It's about staying on my purpose, which is changing the paths of other people. Transact Card is a vehicle for us to partake in, and it's an incredible vehicle. And the vision of this company is so massive, and I'm extremely grateful to be a part of it with each and every one of you. But what's more important to me is making a difference in another human being's life. Sharing something with you this evening where you walk away and say, oh, that was really good. I'm so glad I showed up tonight. And I'll say this to you, if every time we spend together, you get one golden nugget out of our time together, I did my job. And ultimately, if I can push the button of one of you tonight, just one, there's 10 of us online right now, or whoever watches this recording, because I told Susanne, hey, it's Thanksgiving week. They might not make it live, but guess what? The recording is almost as good as the live. So let's take advantage of documenting this, uploading it to YouTube. I'm going to help Susanne create a brand herself with her team, because we are the Z team, but Susanne is a leader within this team, and I want to teach her how I would teach anybody. I need you to brand yourself and bring people to you and build your family and your team. It's really important, and you're ready to do that. So anyway, let's begin here, guys. And then if anyone takes copious notes on this team, I'd ask you to send them back to me. Before we do our next session together, I would like to be able to look through those notes to know what I covered, so that I can always be sharing something new with you and not being redundant. Although I will tell you, the secret in this business is hearing the same things over and over and over and over, doing the same things over and over and over and over. So anyway, with that, I'll take just a quick breath of air here, throw it over to Susanne and Annabelle for a moment here as I kind of regain my thoughts here. And if anybody has any questions, I think we should put them in the notes section. I don't have a watch on or a timer for this meeting. We'll go as long as you're getting value out of it. And if we start to get a little tired, I'll let Susanne moderate and say, Michael, I think we've got too much tonight. I think we got a lot to learn here, and we'll just go from there. So Annabelle and Susanne, take it away.
Annabelle?
Sure, absolutely. I think it's really important, Michael, how about we teach a little bit about the pillars, the 7 pillars, and why they're so important, and why the order, and why right now we're with a company that depicts the financial pillar, yet it is the last pillar on the Path Changer list. And there's a reason for that. So we know the 7 pillars. So if you'd like to write them down, I'm happy to share them with you. The first one is spiritual. And I've known this man like for over 5 years. And if there's something that he taught me was that, and now I just know it because I teach it in Spanish. So I had a platform called Cambia Caminos, which is Path Changers in Spanish. With the other opportunity, I'm going to do it with this opportunity too in Spanish, just building up the leaders right now. So spiritual, and they do go in this order. And the next one is mental, mindset, right? The third one is emotional. Okay. The fourth one is physical. So it's about movement, right? The fifth one that he taught us was relational, which I think is the most important for the business that we do. And he'll tell you meeting new people is a spice of life. The sixth one is nutritional, and the last one is financial. And so why is the financial? Well, we heard Colette Daniels, whoever was at the conference heard Colette Daniels, how she really discovered how when we have stress, right? What do we worry about? What's the number one thing people worry about? Is money, right? So you can have at it, Michael, because I think that that's really, really important with what we're doing when we're out there doing a good invitation. One of the people that whoever we're talking to, trust me, somewhere they're struggling in these pillars, and we want to be great listeners to see what is the pillar. So we actually have a advantage over that as professionals in relationship marketing. I've already deleted network marketing. Yes, as a whole, we're a network, but we're really, really in the people business. And Michael is a mastermind in that. And today, because of all his teaching and listening to him day in and day out, he's been a little bit in the background with this opportunity. Now he's coming forth just because he's had to work. But in our last opportunity, it was literally almost every night that we came together as a family. We were called Team U, and now we're the Z Team, which actually really, really makes me happy because his last name is Zappa. And I'm like, oh, I know where that came from. So it's really, really exciting. And in Spanish, we're Equipo Zeta, right? Which is the Z Team. And, you know, Michael, touch on the pillars and what you really think right now with Transact Card, and when we're out there, what is a good invitation, what we need to be looking for, because these pillars, every single person, whether they're aware or not aware, and for the most part, every human being is kind of on autopilot because they're worried about whatever there's, you know, the situation, either home, work, children. You know, you have marriages, you have divorces, you have separations, you know, you have people dying, you have people living, you have people celebrating, right? How we maintain these pillars are so pivotal and important. And that's why I say this gentleman is my path changer, because a path changer has to do with the 7 pillars. So back to you, Michael.
Sounds good. Yeah. And if anybody wants to type in the notes section, as you're listening, some of the things maybe you're struggling with. I promise you, we spend a few evenings together like the one we're doing tonight. I promise you we'll get through everything that you need to know about building this business. It's not rocket science. This business is simple. It's not easy. That's a power quote. You can write that down. It's simple, not easy. When my mentor said those words to me, it made me feel very comfortable to know that I didn't have to be extra smart. I didn't have to be extra special. This business is simple, not easy. I will touch on those pillars throughout this story, but I want to start out, guys, with the story. This is so important for all of you. A lot of people, you text your friend, oh my God, I found this thing. I want you to take a look. It's called Transact Card and blah, blah, blah. And we quickly go into just talking about what we're involved with, the company. And I'm more attracted to the story than I am the facts. Like, stories sell, facts tell. And my mentor made it perfectly clear. He said, Michael, when you're telling your story over and over and over and over, then you'll know you made it. And about 6 months into building a business, with my mentor, I said, Richard, every time I get together with people, I ask them who they are, tell me your story. And then I tell them my story. And by the time I get done with my story, they're so excited to be a part of whatever I'm doing. They want to join. They don't even know what it's about. So there's power in your story. So I'm going to lead out by obviously getting acquainted with all of you by sharing my story. And unfortunately, because of time constraints and what we're doing here, me speaking to many of you, I don't have the time right now to hear everyone's story, but I want to let you know each and every one of you have the opportunity to connect with me directly. Susanne will give you my phone number. And if we can become friends, that's the start of being great partners in business. So I'd love to get to know yours as well. So I'm going to start with my story because it's so important for you to understand that this business is all about a story. And I didn't understand that at first. I'm like, why does my story matter? Some of you might be saying my story. Nobody wants to hear my story, right? Some of you probably like that. Like, who the heck wants to hear my story? Your story attaches to another person's story. That's what's beautiful about this business. So my story getting into Transact Card was Colette called me up, my business partner for many, many years. It was after my heart attack. I was still healing from triple bypass open heart surgery. I had my back against the wall once again in life. I've made millions of dollars in this industry. I've also spent millions of dollars in this industry. Life can be expensive. I bought the houses that were too big, the cars that were too expensive, and I made all the mistakes with my first couple fortunes. This next fortune I make, I promise you, I'm going to keep it. The first couple, I kind of blew it. But my story, let me take you back even before Colette. I'm a singer. I'm an actor. I'm an athlete. I chased dreams my whole life. I'm probably one of the most interesting humans you guys are going to meet in this life because I'm the kind of guy from the time I was a little kid, I just saw what other people were doing. I said, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to do that. Well, by the time I got to about 24, 25 years old, I was literally training for the NFL. I was a Seattle Seahawk in the year 2000. At the same time I signed with the Seattle Seahawks, I featured in a TV show called CSI. You guys probably heard of the TV show. I played an exotic dancer in episode 14 called To Have and To Hold in season 1 of CSI. I love sharing the story because it's just a freaking comical story, quite frankly. But and there's a whole story behind that maybe at a later time we'll go into. And I was fitness modeling because I was in great shape. So all I was doing was keeping myself in the gym, working out for the NFL. And I had a record deal at the same time with Universal Records. And I share all that with all of you, not to impress you, because quite frankly, there's nothing impressive about it. I signed with the Seahawks, but I got released 8 days later. I featured on the TV show CSI, but I starred as a dead person, which meant at the end of the episode, I was dead, which means I wasn't smart enough to take my first role on the show as a guy who would come back week 15, week 16, week 17. So it was a one-hit wonder on TV. It's a great show. You should watch it. You'll never look at me the same if you do, ladies, so just be careful. And then number 3, I had a record deal with Universal Records. I was 2 weeks away from releasing my first hit single called Come On, COMEON. And it's a cool song. I'm sure if Colette wants to embarrass me one day, she'll find it and play it for all of you on the team. And 2 weeks away from releasing my first single, the guy who produced my record, his name is Sal Benford, famous recording artist, worked with Tony Braxton, Deborah Morgan, Whitney Houston, you name it. He produced for all the big stars. He worked on my album. We became best of friends. And 2 weeks before my song was going to hit the radio, because I had a billionaire behind my project, so it was going to go, my record label got into a fight with my producer. And in the middle of the night, he packed up a Mayflower truck in the house in Vegas he was living in, and he packed up all the music we wrote together over a 2-year period, and it was gone, poof, overnight. So I always like to kind of poke fun at myself when it comes to my past careers. But why was I chasing acting? Why was I chasing music? Why was I chasing movies? As I'm sitting at my desk, this wasn't planned. Here's another residual income check from CSI. I've been getting checks now since 2001 when the show aired. My stage name is Michael Vincent. That's my middle name, Michael Vincent Zappa. And they still cut me checks to this day. This one's for $67.24. So I've been collecting checks every time they air my episode somewhere in the world. This one was aired June 30th, 2023. streaming support. I don't know, every time they air my episode somewhere in the world, I get a check. And for about 15 years at Annabelle, I didn't get a check. And I'm like, oh my God, did they stop airing my episode? No, I moved so many times, they couldn't find out how to pay me. So last year they got a hold of me and they said, is this Michael Vincent? And I go, this is Michael Vincent Zappia. And they go, is this the gentleman who was on CSI? I go, yeah, that was my episode. They go, we have about 20 or 30 checks for you here at the office. Can you give us an address so we can send it to? So all of a sudden I got hit with a couple $1,000s worth of checks. That was a fun day for me. So where did I go from there? When those things fell apart for me, and it's not like my life was over, I could have signed with another NFL team. I could have kept working on music and acting. Never considered myself really much of an actor, quite frankly. I played a stripper on TV and I had 3 speaking lines. So it's not like I'm Tom Cruise. I was in great shape. So I think they wanted me because my body at the time looked pretty good. So, but what happened was I was a personal trainer and I'm a people person. I love people. Annabelle said it earlier, but if you're taking notes, write this down. Meeting new people is the spice of life. I love meeting each and every one of you. I really do. I love it. I'm so blown away by the people that I've been able to meet and become friends with in this world. And if I open up my phone right now, you wouldn't believe some of the people that are I don't believe some of the people I call friends right now. But I made it a point years ago that I want to meet as many people as possible. I don't know about all of you, but I figure if there's 8.8 billion people on the planet and we're on this earth for about 70 some years, I want to make sure I meet a good chunk of people. I think it's really sad for a lot of people in this world that kind of are confined to their own city that they've lived in forever. And they're still going to the same bar, the same restaurant, talking to the same people. They got their same friends from high school and college, and that's all they've got. I think there's a sadness about not being able to get out there and meet people. I don't know if you agree with that, but to me, it's sad. So if I can challenge you with one thing with this business with Transact Card, get out there and find a way to meet as many people as you can. I'll teach you some really great strategies to go out there and meet strangers, to meet people through people you know. I can cover this business A to Z for you. There's nobody on this screen. If we hang out for the next month, once a week or twice a week, at the end of a month, none of you should say, how do I build this business? None of you should have a single question as to how to go do it. People are everywhere. I like to say people are like ants. They're everywhere. There are so many people on this planet. And you know what? Here's another reason why you want to maybe get to the point where you're figuring out a way to meet new people, because the next wave of people you meet, I hate to say this, as you grow as a person, you start to attract more beautiful people into your life. And I got to tell you, when you start to get outside of your circle and you start to meet other circles of positive people, fun people, successful people, and you start to bring those new relationships in your life will be enriched. And a sad part is, for some of you, this industry might introduce you to a new wave of people like me, like Annabelle, like Susanne, that you might say, man, I just love being around those people. You know, when my phone rings and it's Annabelle Restrepo, I answer it on the first ring. Because I love her attitude. I love her energy. I love who she is. I love how positive she is. I want those people close to me. I also know what it's like to have people ring my phone, and I don't want to answer the phone in 10 rings, and you all know what I mean. And my advice to you is you don't have to divorce those people for your life, because some of them happen to be your mother, brother, sister, father, cousin, roommate, uncle. I'm not saying that those are the people to me that I don't want to answer the phone. I love my mother, so I certainly wouldn't want my mom to hear this and say, did you just say you don't want to answer my phone? No, Mom, not you. But there's some people in this world that when the phone comes in, it's like, oh God, I don't know if I want to take this call. And I know I can relate to each and every one of you when I say that to you. So where did my life go from there? Well, first of all, I've always been a big dreamer, and I always wanted to create massive success. I started to hear about residual income, and I got turned on by residual income. Making money today on the efforts of today, but getting paid tomorrow on the same efforts. This check I just showed you, I did that show in 2001. I'm still getting checks. That's residual income. That's the best form of residual income. An actor, a singer, every time a song's on the radio, those people get paid. And they don't get paid 5 cents. They get paid lots of money for doing something one time. When I failed at acting, because I failed in my mind, when I failed at my music career, when I failed at professional football, I was a little depressed because I didn't know how I was going to make it. You see, I always wanted a lifestyle where the money would come in, I'd be able to have fun and do the things I want to do. I never knew how it would happen if I didn't make it in those careers. And here I was getting close to the age of 27 years old, 28 years old, and I'm at the gym and I'm working as a personal trainer, because when you're in great shape, people are always going to ask you, hey, how do I get this to look like that? How do I get my stomach to look like that? How do I get my chest to look like that? And I was always at the gym and people were always asking me these questions. I'm like, I might as well turn this into a business if people are asking me all these questions. I started to mentor people, work them out in the gym. And 2-3 months later, they'd drop 30, 40 pounds. They'd be in the best shape of their life. And they would start telling people, you got to have that guy train you. So it was a natural transition in my life while I was waiting to be an actor, singer, football player. It was a natural transition to just live in the gym and help people get in shape. The physical pillar, as Annabelle would call it. And boy, did I get people in shape. I still love training people. I don't have the time to do it now. You can't pay me the right kind of money to do that kind of work now. It doesn't pay as much as quite frankly, my lifestyle dictates. So I can't do that. But I was training all the stars on the Las Vegas Strip for years. They'd come to the gym on Surrey and Eastern and they'd ask for a zap and I'd start working with them. And it was my goal to have them look as good as they can look on that stage, wherever they were stationed in Vegas. And one day a guy walked up to me at the gym and his name is Warren. Warren Rosegreen is his name. He was a basketball player for the UNLV football team in Vegas. I had known who he was only because over those months as a trainer, I still loved to go out and play basketball pickup games. Every once in a while, I'd find myself in a gym where this 6'4" guy built like a Greek god was just jumping over everyone and dunking over everyone. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I'm playing on the court with Michael Jordan. Who the heck is this guy? And Warren walked up to me, and guys, there's power in the story I'm going to share with you. I promise you, this story alone can change your whole business. I promise you. And I'll go over the highlights of the story so you know why I feel that way. But he walked up to me, he goes, man, how you doing? I said, good. He goes, I like you. I took a step back and I go, I like you too, Warren. He goes, oh, you know who I am? And I go, and I wanted to say, yeah, I'm the little white guy that's on the basketball court that you're jumping over and doing all these crazy things to. I said, yeah, my name's Michael Zappa, but I know who you are. I follow your career at UNLV and I see you here at the gym, and you kind of stick out like a sore thumb. He's got a big, loud, boisterous voice. He laughs like that. You can hear Warren laugh from across the gym. He's so funny. And he says to me, he goes, I like you. And I said, I like you too. He goes, but do you know why I like you? I said, I have no idea. He said, I've been watching you. He said, for the past 6, 7, 8 months since I've been coming to this gym, I've been watching you train. Mainly it was women. He goes, training all these women here at the gym. He goes, and I got to tell you, he goes, I see them walk in 20, 30, 40 pounds overweight. He goes, and Mike, it's within a couple months I'm looking over and I can't even recognize the woman you're training. He's like, I just want to let you know that whatever you're doing, keep doing it because the guys at the gym appreciate you, right? He said, you're getting these women from not in great shape to fitness model shape. And he goes, I've never seen anyone like do that. And I've observed you and I'm just impressed by you. And how do you think that made me feel? He made me feel like $1 million. He made me feel special. I always teach people, make people feel special. Everyone listening to me right now, if you do nothing more in the next 30 days of make the people around you feel special prior to inviting them to take a look at Transact Card, you are in a win-win situation, because that's what he did with me. He made me feel special. At that point, whatever he said after that, I was probably going to listen, right? In sales, because I'm a salesman as well, but I'm also a network marketer. I don't really consider myself a salesman because to me, sales means closing, pitching, pressuring. Not saying that's what a salesperson has to be, but that's most salespeople. Whereas I've never, even when I've done sales, I never pressure, I never convince, I never close. As a matter of fact, I do the opposite. I open, I don't close. I take all the pressure off instead of pressure. I let that person go from uncrossed arms to, can be open with Michael because I don't feel like he's that kind of guy. And the things that I'm going to teach you are what my mentor taught me, but they're also things that I've just learned in my life that I know will be advantageous for you in this business and beyond. So he says to me, he goes, Mike, can I ask you a question? And I said, yeah, sure. He said, do you happen to keep your business options open? I just told you, I liked him. He said he liked me. I liked him back. And I was trying to get to this, so I'll share this with you now. You need to like someone before you listen to somebody. When you listen to somebody, you need to listen to them before you believe them. And you need to believe them before you buy from them or join them, more specifically in Transact Card. Okay? So to illustrate this through the use of my powerful path changer story, because this story is the path changer story. I didn't know that word until 3 years later, and I'll get to that. I liked him. I was listening to him. He says, do you happen to keep your business options open? At that point, ladies and gentlemen, yes. I said, Warren, yes, of course I keep my business options open. He said this to me. This is magic. He said, I have a good friend of mine. He edified this man, okay? He built him up. We'll go over all of this on tonight's call so all of you know where to go next with the people you want to share this with. My goal tonight is to hear my story, get to know me a little bit, and then give you some practical steps to go out tonight and tomorrow and go crush this business based on one simple session we spend together. To keep your business options open? I said, yes, I do. He said, would you like to meet a friend of mine who's a multimillionaire? Really hard questions to say no to. Yes, of course. He said, my friend Jerry is a donor for UNLV basketball. Multimillionaire. He's made tons of money. He's got multiple businesses, a marble and a tile business. He owns Nikki Lee's, the restaurant, the sports bar on Sunset Road down there. I'm like, I know Nikki Lee's. I've been to that guy's restaurant. The guy is wealthy as can be, 10,000 square foot home, beautiful wife. He's just got it all. He's like an uncle to me. Okay. He's looking for people like you and me. Okay. He said, would you like to meet him? Yes, I would. That night changed my life. He said, when would you like to meet him? I said, as soon as possible. Now, you guys, you ladies and gentlemen, just heard a little bit about my story. I had just recently failed at music, failed at acting. In my mind, it was a failure, even though a lot of people are like, you got further in acting than most people ever dream again. I get all that. But my goal wasn't to be a male stripper on CSI for CBS for one episode. My goal was to be a Tom Cruise. My goal was to be a Leonardo DiCaprio. I saw those guys when I was younger, and I said, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And that night changed my life. I went to that man's house. I told him, I want to go meet him tonight. Write this down in your notes. Now is my favorite word, N-O-W. You tell me about something that's got me that excited, I ain't waiting until tomorrow. And remember, tomorrow never comes for the person who says, I'll do it tomorrow. If you want to take a page out of my book, do everything now. You want to go talk to 10 people? Text 10 people now. Not now during the Zoom, but now, like after this, when now is now, after the Zoom is over. Because right now you're going to learn some things. Everything is now. I want to do things right now. We went to the guy's house that night. We pulled up to his house, and first things first, we pulled up to a neighborhood. Hold on one second, guys. Hey, Anzio.
No.
Hey, Kristen, I'm on a Zoom. Can I call you back?
Are you at home?
I am, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'll call you back. Bye. That's my son's mom. I thought it was my son calling. I apologize. So we went to this guy's house, and we pulled up to his neighborhood. And here was the crazy thing about his neighborhood. I'd never been in one like it before. We went through a gate. You know how you go through a gated community? And then we drove around, and we went through another gate. This guy was so wealthy that he had to be protected from the other rich people on the outside of his gated community. That's how well this guy did in life. I thought it was weird. I'm like, didn't we just go through a gate? And Warren said, yeah, but he lives in the nicer homes back here. The houses in the first gated community were nicer than any house I've ever seen before. The houses inside looked like hotels on both sides of the street. Now, I don't know if you've ever been in a neighborhood like the one I'm talking to, but I still never forgot it. And when we pulled up to his house, I remember looking at his house. I'm thinking, oh my God, who the heck gets to live in a house like this. We walked down the driveway, and in his garage was a Bentley. Ladies, gentlemen, you ever seen a Bentley before? And have you ever seen one of those cars? And I'm not a materialistic person, so please don't hear me the wrong way. Those things don't impress me, meaning I have to have a Bentley, although I'd like one. But he goes, "Oh, you like the car?" And I go, "Oh my God, I've never seen one of these in person." It was a cobalt blue Bentley coupe, gorgeous. He goes, "Do you want to sit in it?" And I go, he opened the door for me and he got it. I got it real slow because I didn't want to scuff anything because it's like a $300,000 car. And I remember sitting in that car, white leather seats, all white. And it felt like the chair hugged me. It gave me a hug and said, "Michael, buy me. You need one of me." And I didn't drive it. He didn't let me drive it. But I remember getting out of the car and it's like, wow, it's incredible. We go into the house and he had a wine closet. I don't know how many houses you've been in where they've got wine closets or wine cellars. The wine closet wrapped 180 degrees around one half of the house. When we walked in the metal bars, we walked into the wine closet, there were wine bottles as far as your eye can see. And this thing stretched for a good 50 yards around halfway of the house. It was such a cool. And once again, I love wine. Do I need a wine closet? No, but I saw, I'm like, this is amazing. I won't go through the whole story, but when we met in his office, which was also the library. And I learned that when somebody has a library in their house, they're usually pretty smart. And I asked him, I said, "Have you read all these books?" He's like, "No, they're just up there for show." I'm like, it's amazing. Sat down with this man, and this man started to tell me about his life and what he's been through. And he shared his story, like I'm sharing my story. And he got to the end of his story and he goes, "Michael, we're a part of this new business that's coming out. And I'd like for you to be my guest next week, October 19th, 2002. I'd like you to be my guest. I'd like you to meet a gentleman that if you think I'm successful, wait till you meet him. He's one of the best of the best. His name is Mr. Richard Call." I said, "Who's Richard Call?" He says, "He's the greatest network marketer to ever live." And I go, "I don't know what a network marketer is." He goes, "Well, it's a business like Amway." And he started to name some companies to me. I go, "Oh, my aunt does Avon. I know what network marketing was." That's all I knew about network marketing because I, at 12 years old, used to deliver Avon books to my aunt's route in West Seneca, New York. So I knew exactly what my aunt did. She would get everyone's order. They would come to the house, pick up their lipstick, their eyeliner, their makeup, their skin cream. And that was my aunt's little entrepreneurial business. First person in my life who I knew had anything to do with network marketing or free enterprise or relationship marketing, as Annabelle calls it, was my Aunt Joyce. She wasn't a felon. She didn't hurt people. She sold people skincare and makeup. So to me, oh yeah, I know network marketing. I know that. So that day came around, October 19, 2002. And this man who had been edified to me, Richard, took the stage. And man, when I heard this guy speak, I held on to his every word. Every word. I had a journal about this thick. I still own that journal. It's actually in my garage right now. It's a light blue hardcover journal, and I filled it up with his mentorship. So the things I'm sharing with you and the things I'll teach the Z team and all of you over time are all things I learned from him and then from experiencing becoming wildly successful in this profession. And when the meeting was over, I took a beeline right for Richard. And there was about 100 people of the 250 people waiting in line. When he exited stage left, people got out of their chairs just to meet him and shake his hand and get his autograph. And I'm the type of guy who doesn't believe in waiting in lines. I don't believe in waiting in lines. I don't think lines were made for me. I think lines were made for people who enjoys waiting in lines, but I'm very impatient. Any of you impatient? I can't wait in lines. I won't do it. And I took a beeline right for him as he was signing these books that looked just like this, opening them up. And Richard Call, best of luck to you. I tapped him on the shoulder. I said, "Mr. Call." He looked at me as if he was annoyed. And I go, "Mr. Call." And he goes, "Young man," he goes, I'm working with these people." He goes, "Why don't you get in line and I'll talk to you?" I said, "No." I said, "I'm sorry, I don't have time to get in line." I said, "My name's Michael Zappa." And he knew my name because a week prior, his friend Jerry, who met with me, told him about me. And he said this, he goes, "Richard, you got to meet this 27-year-old kid. He reminds me of a young version of you. Talks fast, move fast. He's from New York as well. I think this kid's got it." So he goes, "Oh, you're Michael Zappa." And I was blown away that the guy knew who I was. Like, "Yes, I am Michael Zappa." And he says to me, I heard about you, kid. He goes, I heard you're full of piss and vinegar. And I've never known what being full of piss and vinegar has meant. My mother and father used to say it, but I never knew what it meant. He explained to me what that meant. And I go, yeah, I don't know if that's exactly a compliment, but I'll take it. He goes, listen, he goes, we're going to go to a restaurant. Nikki Lee is down. I go, yeah, I know Nikki Lee's, Jerry owns. He goes, yeah, we're going to that restaurant after this meeting. He said, why don't you pull up a chair next to me and let's talk? That was enough for me. I said, okay. I left that thing. I went right to Nikki Lee's, and I was the first person at the restaurant waiting at this long table with about 40 or 50 chairs around it. And I pulled, when he walked in, there was a bunch of people around. People were starting to sit down. He said, pull up a chair next to him. Ladies and gentlemen, I am literal. When you say pull up a chair next to me, that means next to me. This woman, as he pulled out his chair and he pulled out the chair next to him, I'm assuming he's pulling out the chair for me. He's pulling it out for this woman, and I hip checked this woman, and I sat down in the chair, and she looked at me as if, well, that was rude. And Richard looked at me and goes, hey, Michael, I'd like you to meet my wife, Lizanne. Oh, no. Oh, no. I pushed his wife out of her. I go, oh, my God, I'm so sorry, ma'am. Sit here. She goes, no, I'll sit on the other side of him. It's okay. I've heard all of his stories for years now. So, guys, we sat there for 4 hours. That's why I laugh when people look at the clock, and when a mentor is teaching that can teach you this business, oh man, you couldn't pull me out of that chair. You couldn't stop me from writing down, because I wanted to be a multimillionaire in this industry. I wasn't in this business for any reason other than to be wildly successful. No offense. I don't love this business that much where I'll do it for free. I love this business a lot. I love the people, the relationships, but I won't do these kinds of things all day long for 18 hours a day for free. I wanted to be successful. And if you tell me I'm going to learn from the Michael Jordan of the industry, I'm right there. So I filled up about 20 to 30 pages in that journal. At the end of it, Richard looks at me and he said, did you get what you were looking for? And I looked at him hand to heart. I looked at him like this. I go, no. And he goes, you didn't? He goes, 4 hours of hearing all these stories and me teaching this business. And I looked at him and I said, sir, and he's 62 years old. I'm 27 years old. And I go, no disrespect, Richard, but all you did was tell stories for the past 4 hours. And he looks at me and he goes, bingo, that's the business. And I'm scratching my head, but I didn't want to be rude to him. And I go, what do you mean that's the business? And he goes, Michael, this business is a story. Everything about this business is a love story. He goes, I told my story how I was in real estate and insurance, and a guy walked up to me at a Midas muffler shop with grease dripping off his uniform and looked at me and said, are you making all the money you want to make? And I said, yeah. And he said, but do you have freedom? And Richard looked back at the guy from Midas muffler and said, do you have freedom? He said, yeah, do you have freedom? Can you do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do it? And Richard looked back at him and said, no, I can't do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. And the guy with grease dripping off his uniform that didn't make 1/1000th of the income that Richard did said, I happen to be involved with a business like that. And if you want to hear about it, I'm having a meeting tonight and I'd love for you to be my guest. These were the stories Richard was telling. I go, Richard, yeah, I heard the stories. I wrote down all the stories, but I go, can you do me a favor before I leave today? Because I don't know if I'm ever going to see you again. Can you please give me a secret? He looks at me, he laughs. He goes, oh boy. He goes, you want a secret? I said, yeah, give me the secret. I go, how many times am I going to sit with a legend in an industry I'm about to partake in, and I'm never going to see you again? He goes, you want a secret? I'll give you a secret. Grab your journal. I open up my journal and I grab my pen, and tonight's a huge moment for you all, because tonight you guys get the secret. You ready? Dr. Linda, you want the secret? Suzanne, do you want the secret? Joy, you want it too? Mary Cherry? Jeannie?
Of course.
Okay, here's the secret. You ready? Sign up. Don't quit. And he stopped talking. And I looked at him as if to feel like I just got ripped off. I go, Mr. Call, is that your secret? He goes, Michael, listen to me. I've met guys like you before, actor, athlete. Look at the shape you're in. My God, I can bounce a quarter off any part of your body. He goes, 27 years old. You probably got all the girls. You got the world by the, you know what, don't you? And I looked at him. I said, no, I don't. He goes, well, listen to me. He said, I've met guys like you before. speak well, good looking, dressed well, been successful in everything you've done, but you get into a business like network marketing, and the moment your friends and family go, boo, you quit. The moment someone close to you says, oh, you're involved with one of those pyramids, that's stupid, get out of it, boo, you quit. He goes, you young man are a dime a dozen. And I got pissed. And I said, and I looked back at him, I go, you don't know me. I go, you can't call me a dime a dozen. He goes, I've met hundreds, thousands just like you that come into this thing with a lot of enthusiasm. He goes, but the moment you start to have some challenges, you're going to hit the high road. And guys, he challenged me in that moment. He goes, listen to me and listen to me clearly. He said, do you want to be successful in this business? I said, yes, sir. He said, if you sign up and you don't quit, you'll be successful. He goes, but most people quit. He said, so do me a favor. He goes, every time you think about quitting, because you're going to want to quit, just remember this conversation. And I did. And I'll tell all of you, I'll confess to all of you, I've been in this industry 21 years. I've wanted to quit just about every other day. Every other day. This is not easy, but it's simple. But when you build a business and it starts to take off, just remember this, you heard it here first. There's nothing more exhilarating than looking into your back office and seeing 10 people join today, 20 people join today, 30 people join today, 50 people join today, 100 people join today, 200 people join today. I've had days where I've looked at my commission for the day and it was over $6,000, $7,000 for one day. And if that business that I built years ago, it was a company called VM Direct, if it would have stayed in business another 2 years, y'all would have never met me, most likely. I made millions, but I didn't make tens of millions. If that company I was with that had stayed in business another 2, 3, 4 years, I would have been worth 50 to 100 million. And I don't know if I would have ever had a reason to ever get back into network marketing. But here's the thing about this profession. You got to get lucky to find the right company, guys. And some of you on the screen look like you have a little life experience. And I'm going to assume some of you watching the recording have a lot of life experience in this profession, maybe. And maybe you've been a part of a company that it sounded great. It looked great. Let's do this. And then a year later, they were out of business. Anybody ever had an experience where you did something and it didn't stick around? Well, I've been a part of a lot of those. And you'll ask yourself, then what the heck are you doing here today? Because all you got to do is experience one time what it's like for something to take off for you. And you'll never, ever, ever want to be a part of another business again. There's nothing like it. You know what's great about this business? You can build a business today that'll grow with or without you. Show me a business that'll grow without me. What's funny about my first 6 months with Transact Card, Colette signed me up. I enrolled about 40 or 50 people, many of which we worked with in the past, who Colette already met through me and through a mentorship program that we put everyone through. And those people came into Transact Card all with the skill sets to go out there and crush this thing. That's why ZTEAM is huge right now. ZTEAM is huge because you have some of the best leaders that I've ever worked with as the leadership core of this particular team. And for 5, 6 months, I've been building my car business because I'm doing really well in the car business. And I couldn't take my eyes off the ball because after open heart surgery, I was way behind in my bills and I got a 7-year-old to provide for. And I couldn't wait for Transact Card to pay me 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month, which is what I need in order to walk away from my current business. It's the only reason why I haven't been fully engaged with all of you up until this point. Now, up until this point, meaning I'm still going to keep my business going in the car business, but I'm going to double it up and I'm going to start enrolling people like crazy in this company. And more importantly, I'm going to work with people that want to work with me, that want to learn how to do this and help you all build your team. It doesn't matter to me where the people come from. I've got a list of 10,000 people in this phone that are waiting to hear from me, and I got to get to those people. But if someone like Susanne Kitchens looks at me and says, Michael, I want you all for myself. When you have time to work the business, I'm going to put you on the phone with all my people until you help me enroll 50 people and until my team is over 1,000 people. And at that point, Michael, when you've taught me well enough, you can step to the side and I'll go lead an army. And that's what I want from Susanne. I want to teach her enough for the next few months, and Annabelle work side by side with the two of them, do as many of these Zooms as we have to until we start multiplying the screen with multiple people, 50 people, 100 people, and then just use me when you need me, guys. Use me when you need me. and keep me exclusive. Keep me exclusive for you for two reasons. Number one, it's going to be better for you to keep me exclusive. It'll mean more if I'm not here all the time, just as a special guest to teach and mentor. But number two, I don't have the time to do tons of meetings. I have to teach groups at a time right now. It's the way I can be effective for all of you. And I also don't want to be selfish. There's a handful of other people on the Z team that have asked me to work with them in the same fashion that Susanne has. And I'm going to work with the people that ask for my help. But the people I work with, I just want them to take the information seriously. I want them to know that everything I teach you will work. It's a question of, will you work? Not a question of, will the things I teach you work? They are tried and true, and not Eric Worre and not anybody in this industry has the information I'm going to share with you. Nobody. And that's not to brag or boast about who I am. That's to let you know that I worked with a guy, if he went the Eric Worre route, he would have been the Jesus of the network marketing industry. Richard, after he made his 100 million, was not interested in selling arenas full of people just to hear him teach the business. Quite frankly, I think he should have. I think Richard could have been the biggest teacher, trainer, mentor in the history of network marketing, but he took his 100 million and he lived his life and he did what he did, and I respect him for it. So anyway, that was my story of how I met Richard. Now, you guys might be happy to know that he became my mentor about a month and a half later. I walked through the front doors of a video technology company doing exactly what you see us doing here tonight, but this was 20 years ago when nobody was doing video. And I found out they were a network marketing company paying people to tell people about this Zoom stuff that we're doing today. But the company was called VM Direct and Hello World back in 2003. And on January 21st, who do you think I called first? I called Jerry, Richard's best friend, and I said, Jerry, you need to come down here right now. We got to put Richard in front of this company. You guys are going to freak out when you know what's possible with video. And I was a pioneer of the video streaming revolution, just like today I'm a pioneer of the banking transact card revolution. I only want to be involved with revolutionary companies. I'm not interested in signing up for a lotion, potion, pill, powder, shampoo, skincare company. I'm not interested. I got to be involved with something that 100% of the people, if they really knew what it was about, would join me. If I do skincare, I know most men aren't going to want to buy the product. If I do internet technology driven stuff, I know a lot of people just aren't interested. When I get behind a bank card that can double your dollars, make you money every time someone swipes the darn card, this is the biggest no-brainer on the planet. And I'm praying, just like I hope some of you go to bed every single night and pray that God blesses this company, because it's going to take God blessing the company and a lot of persistence for this company, Transact Card, to become a household name. And I hope you all know that and you're prepared for that. This is not going to be an easy ride. It is going to be a lot of ups and downs, because we're not trying to just sell a skincare here. We're trying to disrupt the Apple cart and disrupt all the credit and debit card companies out there who don't give you squat for your dollars. And now a company comes along with a founder like Peter Rancy, who wants to actually make a difference and be philanthropic and serve and feed the people that are helping his baby grow. Yeah, well, guess what? This company's going to come under a microscope really, really soon. And we're all going to have to believe in this thing enough to be tough enough to withstand a lot of hard times ahead. And I'd rather warn you ahead of time, so when those obstacles and those roadblocks hit us, that you're all prepared to know that, wow, Michael told us this was coming. I don't care if it's somebody on CNN that says this Transact Card's a scam and there's now 150,000 people shopping in this Z Club, getting everything at a discount and getting paid on the transaction fees of everyone they introduce. This thing should be illegal and we need to shut this down. Those days are coming. But you should know deep down in your heart that those things are not true, and that this company is doing business the right way, ethically. They're dotting the I's, they're crossing the T's, and they're giving us a chance to partake in it, because they didn't have to do it this way. This didn't have to be a people movement where they paid people. They could have easily done this without each and every one of us, but they chose to do it this way. So we should be grateful. So Richard ended up loving the video company I showed him. And one of the best and worst moments of my life happened on February 3rd, 2003. He pulled a check out of his pocket, and in front of me and 10 other people that were invited that day to be a part of this special meeting, legend in network marketing, the Michael Jordan meets this new video streaming company that just launched network marketing. Richard slides a check right under my nose for $500,000. And I watched him write 500,000, slid under my nose. And I look down at the check and I go, what is this? And he looks at the owner of the company at the time. He goes, how do you feel about having a partner? And I go, this is backfiring. I know this is backfiring. Ladies, I was hoping to just sign him up and he'd be in my organization. I never say underneath me, never say underneath me. I was hoping I would enroll Richard Call into this company and he would go put 560,000 people in his organization on my team, and I'd be set for the rest of my life because he put 560,000 people in a company called New Skin. I figured he might do that again. I know he's older, 62, but I just enrolled a monster, right? We get excited about enrolling somebody big in this profession. And the opposite happened. He ended up enrolling me. Why? The owner looked at him and said, I can use a chairman of the board with your experience. How do you feel about partnering up? And I went home that night dejected. So I called Richard because I got his phone number. I'm the one who put him there. I said, Mr. Call, that was a great day today. It was great meeting you again. I go, what does this mean for me? He laughed. What do you mean? What does this mean for you? I said, you just wrote a check. You became the owner. Sounds like now you're the upline. And it kind of sounds that way. And I was thinking you'd kind of be my teammate. And Michael, he goes, nobody can enroll me. I wish I would have known this before I called you. He goes, Michael, listen to me. He goes, how do you feel about having a mentor? And at this point, it was a consolation prize. I go, a mentor? He goes, remember we met months ago, back in October? I said, yeah. He goes, I like you, kid. He goes, but you're a little rough around the edges. I'm just going to be straight with you. He goes, you don't wear a collar. Multiple times I've seen you, you don't wear a collared shirt. He goes, if you don't wear collared shirts and you work with me, I won't even open the door. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm from Buffalo and I'm an athlete and I'm normally wearing a sweatsuit because I'm coming from the gym as a personal trainer. He goes, that's okay. He goes, if you want a mentor, he goes, I'll teach you and I'll teach you everything you need to know about building this business. How does that sound? And in my mind, I said, well, if I'm not going to enroll him, I might as well learn from him. And it was the only way it would work. And from that day forward, that was February 3rd, 2003, I became a student of the best. And I sat in his house, in his office downstairs in his mansion, and we would spend hours upon hours talking about prospecting, talking about what do I say to a stranger, Richard? Richard, how do I present? What stories do I tell? And he taught me every cotton picking thing you need to know. And in my first month working under his tutelage, I enrolled 7 people personally. And those 7 people, I would do a meeting every Tuesday and every Saturday, every Thursday and every Saturday, one or the other. I would do an opportunity meeting and a Saturday training. Remember, we're the first video company to have this stuff, so it was glitching. So we still had to meet belly to belly. We didn't have the luxury of having this streaming video. So I built in my backyard in Vegas. And in my first month, we had 37 people on my team. 7 people I enrolled turned into 37. I made about $5,000. In my second month, I enrolled another 5 people personally. And I kept that weekly meeting and that system going and everyone plugged in. And then we brought in 118 new people that month. The next month, I enrolled about 3 or 4 people. And we brought in 187 people in the third month. 37, 118, 187. In less than 90 days, never done this business before, leaning on my mentor to tell me what to do every step of the way, sir. I called him every night after every meeting. This is what happened. Oh my God, Richard, this was Michael. You keep doing what you're doing, young man. I love what you're doing. He was my cheerleader. He'd show up on the screen like I'm showing up tonight for you. He'd show up on what we call a live broadcast back then with VM Direct, and he would talk to the living rooms I was meeting with. And when I got in front of the room, I shared the same story I shared with you. I've been doing the same stuff every single day. Every single day since I've been in this industry. All I did was tell my story, shared his story, how he created financial freedom. I want what he wants. It wasn't my success story. It was his success story. Attach your name to a successful person who you're working with is your key. Until you're successful, your story must be someone else's story. And once you're successful, your story is still someone else's story. You know why? Because you don't want to brag about yourself and beat your chest. Let other people exalt you. Don't exalt yourself. After that 3 months, my life was a blur. Every morning I'd wake up at 5 a.m. I had my day planner in front of me. I had people coming to my house. People always come to me. Here's some gold for you. You are the gold. People come to you. You don't go to them. When you have this information about Transact Card, you have something for people. People don't have something for you. You have to start acting and treating it like that. You need to treat this business like you've got gold in your hands right now. And you can deliver this gold to anybody you want to. Be selective of who you choose to share this with. Someone's got a negative attitude, someone in your life that's never really been successful and they've always got something negative or gossipy to say, might not be the person I would approach first in my business if I were all of you. You should be looking for people who are successful. You should be looking for people who are attractive. What do I mean by that? Not just physically, although that doesn't hurt. Attractive mindset, attractive speaking language, attractive dress attire. You should be going out there to find the most successful people you can to partner with in your Transact Card business. It's called top-down recruiting, not bottom-up recruiting. A lot of us are comfortable just going to our brother, sister, coworkers and telling them about Transact Card. You want me to give you a great tip here? This is what I would do. Go ask the people closest to you, who's the most successful person you know? Who's the most, you want to win in this game? Just look at the top people in this company. They're all very attractive business people. My partner, Colette, extremely attractive woman, not just physically, but she's got the mind of a genius in this industry. She attracts everyone she talks to. Annabelle, same thing. The people that were on the stage are all very, very polished, groomed people. So what makes us think that when we're starting our business that we should turn to our friends and family first? Now, I'm not telling you not to tell your friends and family about it. I'll do a whole training on how to approach friends and family that will help you. But my advice to you is you start to make your list and you're really starting to go after this business, you better find a way to build some powerful people around you that are working with you. This business is easy if you work hard. It's hard if you work easy. Meaning if you take the easy road, it's going to be hard. Now, I don't know where each and every one of you come from, what you've done in your life before. Some of you on the screen may have far exceeded my financial goals and my success in life. I never know who I'm talking to, so I never prejudge anybody. I'm speaking in generalities to you of how this generally would work. But I'll tell you, the more successful you are, the more attractive you are, the more people you are going to attract who are successful and attractive. And if you're at a place and time in your life where you're saying, you know what, Mike, if I'm being completely honest, I really haven't built big businesses. I've been an employee. I've worked for other people. And you might think, oh, God, I don't know if I can do this. Yes, you can do this. You just need to elevate yourself to another level that you've never been before so that you can go out there and attract the people you want to attract. Does that make sense? I'd make a list of 10 people closest to you. They could be mother, brother, sister, cousin. And I'd call each of them tomorrow and say, listen, I'd like to sit with you and have a conversation, but right now I have to resort to calling you on the phone or FaceTime. I found something. I'm so excited about this thing. I can't even talk to you about it. I can't even talk to you about it. Stop right there. Get out of the pressure of having to tell anyone close to you about this. I really, really, really need a favor of you. Who's the most successful person you know? Why are you asking me this? I can't explain it to you right now. I'm in business with something that's about to explode. I know you're probably not interested. Now do that with people. Please do that with people. Cross them off your list so they can see you're crossing them off their list before you even start. I know you're probably not going to be interested in this, but I need to meet the most successful people. Who do you know in real estate who's done really well? Who do you know in insurance that's done really well? Who do you know that owns their own business, small business, knows what it's like to be an entrepreneur? Who do you know? Now, don't make the mistake of saying, do you know? When you say, do you know, it's a yes or no answer, right? Do you know? Hey, Carol, do you know anybody? No, can't think of anybody. When I say, who do you know? I know you know somebody. I'm asking for a name. Who do you know? How about this one? Who do you know that's ever been successful like have you ever heard of network marketing? Yeah. Who do you know that's ever been successful, like in a network marketing program? Do you know any leaders? I know you've done some things in your life. Do you remember any of those names? Do you have them in your phone? Who do you know? I need to meet those people. Now, what might happen is if you do a really good job of duplicating what I'm teaching you right now, most of the people looking at you are going to say, what about me? Well, why don't you show me? And then you can say, I didn't think you'd be interested. Well, how do you know? You didn't even ask me. I call this going around them. Go around them and give them a chance to put their hand up and go, I want to take a look at this unbelievable thing that you can't even talk about right now. See, what's happening when you don't say it's Transact Card and you get paid off the swipes and you get dollar for dollar match and you get double your buying power and you break out into a Transact Card presentation, which I advise you don't do that. But when you say I'm involved with this thing that's going to be so big, this thing, stop right there. Write this in your notes. Curiosity satisfied is interest lost. Curiosity satisfied is interest lost. If you tell them all about it on the phone or on the spot, they already start connecting dots to what they think it is. Oh, I know something like that. I don't want to do that. I'm not. So don't make that mistake of doing that. And I want you to try and go after the most successful people you can first. I had Suzanne, I had a lot of people I work with. First thing I ask you to do after we get to know each other and I find out you're really serious about working with me is make me a list. I need to know who I'm working with. And then I'm going to ask you and teach you how to call that list, approach that list, engage that list, set appointments the way I'm teaching you some of the things right now, but not everything right now. That's why we need more time together. But you'll get something out of tonight. I guarantee it. One thing. That's all I care about. And then I want to know what Suzanne's made of. I get to find out real quick what she was made of. She said, I'm going to put you on a Zoom. I go, do me a favor, group text message me all the people so I can say hello. She did exactly what I asked her to do. And here we are tonight with 10 people on. I love it. 10 turns into 100 real fast when you have people that really want to build this real fast. Once you get to 100, you're off to the races. So make a goal on this team to put 100 people on one of these screens in the next month. And let's get this thing growing and let's build the frenzy and build the excitement around Transact Card, around this group of people on this team. So let me kind of wind things down because we're getting to the end of our time together tonight. It's about 8:19. We'll go for a few more minutes. And then I want to open the last 7 or 8 minutes up for any of you. If you have any feedback, you have any questions, whatever you have, I'm here for you. Everyone will have my phone number too. Just be patient with me if you all can, because I'm going to be working with hundreds of people right now. And if you text me and you really want my help, I'm here for you. Just be patient how quickly I get back to you. I make it a point in business to get back to people really, really quickly. And I have mainly evenings and early mornings open for you guys if you want to do some 3-way calls with me. If you want to do some Zooms with me, I'm budgeting time in my weekly schedule around my other business to start really crushing Transact Card. And I feel like this thing is ready for me to come in full guns blazing and help you all crush it. And as soon as I get to a point where my income exceeds what I'm making at my other business, then I'll make a decision as to how many hours I put in my other business. Until then, I'm going to stay focused on what I'm doing, and I'd advise you to do the same. Keep your job or whatever you've got fueling your bills. And when your income and Transact Card starts to creep up to it and pass it and maybe double it, then consider walking away. But don't put the pressure on yourself to walk away from this business if you can't afford to do so. Now, don't hear me the wrong way. Every time I've ever been wildly successful in this industry, I dropped everything and I did just this. You're like, this guy's a contradiction if I've ever heard it. Wait a second. He just told us keep our job, and I won't tell you what to do. That's your life. You got to live it. But you need to know that this company is exploding and this is a race right now. It's a race. And the people you're going to want to bring this to, someone else is going to get to them before you do, if you slow play this. And I can't wait for each and every one of you to have somebody close to you get signed up by somebody else in this business that you didn't get credit for, because nothing will teach you the urgency of this business than to watch somebody that's in your phone right now that you're too lazy or you slow played to reach out to and engage them in a conversation and set up an appointment. You're gonna feel the sting of someone close to you signed with somebody else. When I went to the event the other day, I can't even tell you the number of people that I've met over the past 21 years in my life that are not a part of the Z team. And it ticked me off. I'm like, oh gosh, I mentored her. She's on somebody else's team. I know this guy watched all my videos. He read my book. I worked with this guy. This guy was part of my organization. Why didn't I call him? I couldn't get to everybody, but I'm dealing with the sting of missing out of some people that should be on the Z team that are on somebody else's team right now. And what does that do? Motivates me to make sure I do the best I can to get to as many people as I can before somebody else gets to them. That should be one of your singular driving forces here with the business. All I want to do is show this. Did any of you watch the story of the gold bricks the other day? You haven't watched it, keep it cataloged, Suzanne, and save all these golden nuggets for your team. Make sure they watch them. If we record them, then I don't have to do it again. It helps me too. The story of the gold bricks, all your job is to do is show the plan, show the business. Your job is not to sign people up. It's not to enroll people. It's none of those things. If somebody takes a look at Transact Card, they watch that 7-minute and 50-second video. I'll teach you something I did real quick. I'll show you something. You guys can take it or leave it. Watch this. Hold on one second. Okay. Watch this, and then I'm going to open it up to you guys. Zoom. Let's see if that works. Here, Chrome. Can you guys see my screen? Can you see where it says Zoom real big?
Yes.
So last night I got the link for that 7-minute video.
Oh, yeah.
I sent it to 3 people, but I went into GoDaddy because I own the URL michaelvzappia.com. And when you all go to michaelvzappia.com, watch what happens. Apparently nothing. Here we go. Come on. I don't know why it's going slow. Oh, let me try it again.
Looks like it's buffering.
Is it okay? See how impatient I am?
Yes.
Leo, ya está tarde. You're late.
Hey, I can't find my other tweet. Have you seen it?
Soccer bag.
So there you go. I hyperlinked and I forwarded my URL that I bought through GoDaddy years ago because people know me. So if you're my friend, I go, hey, go to michaelvzappia.com, watch that video, get back to me. I think it's a great idea. If you have your own GoDaddy URL, AnnabelleRestrepo.com, do it. Forward it to something that you want people to go take a look at. And I always think outside the box and do things like that. I've got some things to come for this team. Annabelle knows where I'm going with building a website. I'll be building a site pretty soon. It'll be a one-stop shop for everyone to get the presentation, get an intro from myself or Colette, watch the video down below, get back to the person that sent you here. You might say, but yeah, the company already did that with our replicated websites. Yeah, but that's a replicated website and people are used to looking at those and people are not turned on by those the way they would of a team of people connected to people because it's all about people joining people, not people joining a company. It'll make a huge difference in our ability to duplicate when we can put them in front of one unbelievable presentation 24/7 so that when you finally meet people, talk to people, and you can get them there, the website does all the work for you. All you got to do is collect the decision at the end. So anyways, guys, I tried to put as much in this hour and a half together as possible. I'm going to open it up to you, Suzanne, and everybody. And if anybody has any questions for me, any burning questions, and if you want to write them down for our next time together, we can do that too. But I haven't even begun to get started on all the teaching you need to hear. I just felt tonight was important to share with you the power of your story, connecting your story to someone you just met or someone you're working with who's going to be there for you to do 3-way calls, etc., and edifying that person so that you can step out of the way and let the magic happen. The magic happens in the power of 3.
Thank you so much. Woo, guys, that was incredible. So if you look in the chat, I did put Michael's cell phone number. For those of you who, and Pony, I apologize, do know who you are, dear, from the launch. So we'll get your contact number. But those of you who I've sent the invitation out, Michael is on each one of your group texts, and but his number is right here in the chat. Okay. Amazing. Any questions tonight?
I had a
Hi,
real quick
Michael.
question.
Zoe, go ahead. Just a second. Go
Okay,
ahead.
sorry. I have just a real quick question about the DBO. Is it still 18 to be a DBO? Or I saw a post on the group chat and I just haven't had a chance to go into my back office and research. Are 16 and 17-year-olds able to join as a DBO. I thought maybe somebody had done a post where if they were under the parent or if the parent signs a form, they could do it. Anybody
Yeah,
know for sure
Does
about
anybody
that?
else? Yeah, I don't have the answer to that one. It's normally 18 to legally join any kind of a home-based business. But you know what? Why don't we, Annabelle, why don't you text message Colette and let's get some insight on that if we can.
Awesome. Awesome.
Colette
I
will
have an
have that answer.
18-year-old son and a 17-year-old daughter, and I want to put them both under me, and I'm actually going to feel guilty if I can sign my son up and I can't sign my daughter up. I'm like, I don't want to do more for him than her, and I want both of them on my team. So
So
that
if
was
I had so let me just tell you what I would do. If I had a 17 or 18-year-old and I was concerned, I would do it anyways and ask for forgiveness, not permission. That's just my 2 cents.
yes, yes, for sure.
But please don't share this recording and what I just said with someone from corporate, because that's kind of the rebel in me. I don't ask permission. I ask forgiveness if I did something wrong. I don't wait
Yeah.
for people to tell me how to put my son and my daughter front line to my business so that by the time they get to second or third year of college, I can pay their whole tuition off with my Transact card overrides. Yeah, don't ask permission.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I guess that's a question too. Like, how would they know? Do you do a date of birth or social security?
Hey,
I
Joy,
guess the social security number
you
would.
got my number. When you successfully sign
Yes.
up a 17-year-old, tell me and we'll just leave it at that.
Awesome. I will do that, Michael.
Okay.
Thank you.
I just asked Colette, so we're waiting for the answer.
Okay,
Thank you, Annabelle. Thank you so much.
cool.
Hey, Michael. This is Mohammed El Sawa from Atlanta. How are you?
I'm great, Mohammed. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you so much for blessing us with tonight, and I appreciate you and appreciate Suzanne cheering up for this meeting and all that. And I have 2 questions, please.
Sure.
First question is, we were told before the launch that the date for that we can sign business DBOs, it will be after the launch. So are we allowed to do that now? That's number 1.
Okay. That's another question for Colette. Anytime it has to do with company questions, chances are I'm not going to be the one to have those answers up front. But if they did announce it and they said it should be ready, then we'll find out for you. So
Awesome.
Annabelle, can we get that question and make a post about that? So
Okay.
Susanne and Annabelle, let's answer that question live on ZTEAM once we get the answer. Hey, they told us that we'd be able to sign up businesses as DBO. That date hasn't happened, or we're all systems go, let's do it. Whatever the answer is.
That's awesome. The second thing that you talked about it in the stories and all that was learning from Mr. Call. And what would be like number 1? Can you please send me the book and I'll be glad to pay for it. And I'll give you my phone number.
You guys all have, I'll do this for this group of people, but please don't tell everyone I'm going to do this for everyone because I have one box left and this box is precious to me.
Thank you.
Anyone who's listening right now, I'll put that in a manila envelope and I'll ship it to you. You just got to text message me, not here in this chat here, because I saw Mary did that. Text message me directly so I can have it all on my cell phone. And tomorrow I'm going to take the day off. I'll put them all in envelopes and I'll ship it out to you. And just know that I'm not giving you a book worth $10. This book today was worth about $6 million to me so far. As everything he taught me is what I've created success in the industry. And when I make 100 million, this was worth 100 million to me. And you guys are getting an extension of Richard Call. And I've got some really cool stuff to share with you all of him and I sitting down together, doing some trainings together that are out there in YouTube. If you did your own Google search for Richard Call, Michael Zappa, you want to get a jump start on some gold nuggets, start looking around for some of the things him and I did together. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. What would be the most thing that you've ever learned from Mr. Call? Like if I ask you, what would be the most valuable lesson that you've learned from him, Mr. Zappa, please, that would be awesome. Thank you.
I'll give it to you. Yeah, I wrote a book called The Belief Quadrant. Annabelle can send all of you a copy of that book for free. I believe it's in Annabelle's email account. Annabelle, is it there? It's also on the Facebook page, ZTEAM. It's in the files where you can download the book for free and read it. I sell it on Amazon, but quite frankly, I've never done well marketing my own stuff at this point, so hardly anyone knows about it. Joy just put in there, she's got the book. Good read. Thank you, Joy.
The Belief Quadrant?
Yeah.
Yeah, I even have it in Spanish.
You know what? I'm going to teach you the number one thing I learned from Richard Call, and this is a great question, and I was going to tell you it was belief, but it wasn't. It's a really cool story. Here's what I learned from Richard. So when I started working with him, I was about 28 years old. And when Richard mentored me, I felt like sometimes that his information might be dated. It might have worked in the 80s, but not the 90s or the 2000s, right? Like I questioned some of the things he was teaching me. And he made it crystal clear when he was teaching me. He said, Michael, everything I teach you is what you should do. If you do something outside of what I teach you, you shouldn't do it. And I kind of took a step. He goes, I'm going to teach you how to build an empire. He goes, the moment you do other things, I'll love you, but I'll never work with you again. And I said, really? He goes, you want my time? He goes, there's a lot of people out there that think they know how to build a network marketing business. None of them can build it like me. And he said to me, if you follow me and you do the things I ask of you, I'll promise you'll be successful and I'll continue to work with you. But once again, he said to me, the moment you start not listening to me and start to make up your own way to build this business, he said, nothing personal. I can't afford to work with you because if you do other things, I can't ensure your success. And I'm only working with you because I love you and I like you, not because I have to. So he set the tone with me really, really quickly. He also said this to me, and this is not the thing I learned. I'll get to that in a second. He said, if you ever show up late, don't come in. He goes, if you have a meeting and you're going to bring a group of people to my house and meet me, he goes, you're 5 minutes early, not 10 minutes early. I don't want you too early. He said, 5 minutes early at my front door. He goes, if you're 1 minute late, don't ring the doorbell. Just go home. So Richard was really, really strict with me, but he had to be that way because I would have ended up wasting a lot of his time. He put the foot down with me. He said, I'm going to teach you how to be a multimillionaire, but I'm going to ask 3 things of you. And he said these words. He said, you're going to have a meeting once a week somewhere in town. He goes, I'm not going to be there. You're going to have a meeting. You need to be there with your entire team, everyone on your team. So, okay. He said, number 2, he said, you're going to have a teaching. He called it a powwow. He never called it training. He said, you train farm animals and dogs and pets. You don't train people. You teach people. He goes, you're going to have a teaching once a week on a Saturday. Every Saturday, I need you to group your whole team together and teach the things I'm teaching you. Once your team gets good at teaching the things, let them teach the things. He said, this is all about duplication. He said, number 3, we're going to have a big company event every year. I need you there and I need your team there. He said, if you do those 3 things, I'll keep working with you as long as you want. He goes, but the moment you stop doing one of those 3 things, any of those 3 things, I'm through with you. Guys, you know why I was successful? Because every Tuesday night, I had to have a meeting or he wouldn't mentor me anymore. There's so much more I've got to teach all of you. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on what's coming next. And I was worried that if I didn't do what he asked me to do, that he wouldn't work with me. So I do a meeting on a Tuesday, a teaching on a Saturday. Next Tuesday, teaching on a Saturday. Somebody new joined the team, like a Joy joined, and she goes, I can't be at the Tuesday meetings. I go, great, Joy, we'll do Wednesdays at your house. Now I was going to Joy's house on Wednesday with all of her people. I was going Tuesday was our weekly meeting where everyone plugged in if they could, if they didn't have a work or family obligations. And then all of a sudden, Joy brought someone to the table like a Suzanne, and Suzanne says, I want to do this. Well, I'll work with you, Suzanne. How would you like to have a meeting at your house on Thursday? And now I was at Suzanne's house on Thursday, Joy's house on Wednesday, my main meeting on Tuesday. Before you know it, after 3 months, when we did the 37, 118, 187, I had meetings every single night of the week. I was putting on my suit, my shirt, and I was going to someone's house. And there was 10 people, 5 people, 20 people, 30 people, 40 people, got up to 70 people in some of the meetings and people's small houses. It was crazy. And after every meeting, I called Richard. Michael, how'd your day? Richard, I just did another meeting. He goes, keep doing what you're doing, young man. He goes, you're doing it exactly the way I'm teaching you. And I did everything he taught me. So, but let me answer your question, Mohammed, because I steered from the path, but I felt I need to share that with you about how serious it is to work with a mentor. Because guys, you're going to get on a company call, you're going to get on another leader's call, and you're going to hear conflicting information. And at that point, quite frankly, just between all of us, I don't have time to fight with everyone else's how to build this business. I'll teach you one way, the way that he taught me. And if you follow it, I'll continue to work with you and I'll help you. The moment you want to do what every Tom, Dick, and Harry starts to do, I can't work with you anymore. I'm sorry. It's nothing personal to each and every one of you, but I have watched so many people fail in this business because they stray from a simple system and then they lose it and they're done. And then I just end up wasting my time with those people. And that's what Richard was saying to me. Doesn't mean that I'm right about everything. It just means that I have a system that'll work for you. I promise. So the number one thing he taught me, he said, Michael, he goes, you see how most people do the business and they send a text message. Oh my God, watch this video. You go, you see how people do that? He goes, and he always to talk in a third person. Richard doesn't do that. He goes, you know how Richard builds a business? He goes, I find out where a person is in their life first before I mention anything about the business. I step back. I go, what do you mean? He said, Michael, if you were my friend, he goes, I'd call you up and it would sound something like this. Hey, Mike. Yep. How you doing? It's Richard. Hey, what you doing? Hey, listen, Michael, I don't have a lot of time, but I need to talk to you about something serious. Something really, really serious. And of course I would say, Richard, is everything okay? Are you okay? You healthy? There's an emergency? Mike, everything's fine. He goes, but I just saw something the other night that's got me really, really bothered. And I would say, well, what's got you bothered, Richard? He goes, you know what? It's too important to talk about right now. He goes, listen, he goes, I need to have a serious meeting with you. When can we get together? And Richard would set every one of his appointments like that. The person would come over the next day to his house, always at his house, come to the house, sit on the couch. And Richard used to call it talking about life. He'd look at the person across from me and say, let me ask you a question, Mike, before we get into what's bothering me. How do you feel about life? And the people used to look at Richard and go, you called me over here thinking something was wrong, and now you're asking me about my life. Like, Richard, what are you asking me? No. Just do me a favor. How do you feel about life? And he'd make that person answer the question. What do you mean, Richard? Just give me more. How do you feel about your job? I hate my job. I hate it. It sucks. I'm sick and tired of driving 50-minute miles to work every day. I got to drive 50 miles home. Now I'm talking about me particularly. You know, I'm making unbelievable money. I never thought car business could be this lucrative. It's not what I want to be doing, but it is what I'm doing right now in my life after my heart attack. But quite frankly, Richard, I got no time with my kid. Keep talking about that. What do you wish? I wish I could see my son Anzio more. And Richard would ask questions like this. You know, how do you like your coworkers? I can't stand my coworkers. They drive me nuts. They're all a bunch of negative freaking people. They wanted to get me fired because they knew I was a threat to their business when I started. I've had more stress since I've been at the car dealership. So Richard would ask me questions about me. Mike, when's the last time you took a vacation? Richard, now you're starting to bother me. What do you mean? I haven't taken a vacation in years. And how much longer you want that to be the story? I'm like, I don't. Why? You're starting. So here's what I'm getting at. And hopefully you guys are picking up on my vibe here. Richard wouldn't talk about Transact Card. He would talk about you. And his goal was to find out where you are in your life. He wanted you to take a good look. Write these words down. Get people to take a good look at their current situation in life. That is your job. He told me to ask this question to everyone I met with. He goes, Michael, when you meet with people, ask them how they feel about life. So let me tell you a cool story that hit home for me one night. A girl from Buffalo, I'm from Buffalo, a girl from Buffalo named Jody was moving to Las Vegas. My good friend Sean Costanza in the debt collection company called me up one day and said, Zap, I've got a friend named Jody, pretty girl, school teacher. She's moving to Vegas to get her job in Vegas. She doesn't know anybody. You're like the mayor of Las Vegas. Will you make her feel welcome? I go, Sean, whatever you need. So she comes to town. We meet up. We go grab a bite to eat. We get to know each other. And I make a new friend. And I say, hey, if you need anything here, I know a lot of people in this town. I've been networking here for years. You want to be a school teacher? Sounds like you already got a job, but I'm here for you, Jody. I'll be your new friend. Okay. So I got involved with that video business at the same time. I said, Jody, let me ask you a question. I go, do you keep your business options open? Remember Warren when he said, do you keep your business options open? At the time, that was my go-to. She goes, yeah, keep my business. I go, I want to show you something. It's really amazing. Can we get together tomorrow? Yeah. We got together and I showed her the whole business I was involved with. Introduced her to a guy, Todd. I used my upline, my partner. He did the whole presentation. He wowed her. At the end of the presentation, she was so enamored by who Todd was. He's a video producer and a director for Nickelodeon and a lot of TV shows. And little did I know, Jody wanted to be an actress. So when she met Todd, she didn't care about the business we showed her. She was only interested in befriending Todd so Todd can help her become an actress. So at the end of this beautiful presentation where we laid out the future of video communication and how you can make millions of dollars by sharing this with people, she heard none of that. And she goes, on the way out of the office, she goes, do you think Todd will help me become an actress? I'm like, did you hear the presentation? She goes, yeah, I don't really think I like that business. Whatever, I let it go. She goes, Michael, you got to help me get in shape. I said, Jody, you look beautiful. What do you mean you got to get in? He wants me to take pictures to put on a model card, a Z card, and I got to wear a bikini, and I'm not in bikini shape. And she goes, and you're a personal trainer. I said, yes, I am. She goes, will you train me? And at this point, I'm like, well, yeah, sure, Jody, whatever you need. I go, what do you want? When do you want to start? She goes, right away. So the next night, one of my favorite things to do with my clients is take them to a hill. I find out what they're made of. We walk up and down the hill. We walk up backwards, up and down a 45-degree hill. And then we start running and I find out what she's made of. And to my surprise, she had a great workout. 35, 40 minutes up and down this hill. Her legs were so shot, she couldn't get in the car. She gets in a Jeep. She gets into my Jeep. We're driving home. And I remember thinking about my mentor saying, Michael, ask people how they feel about life. Now, you guys got to understand, I'm telling you how I've already showed her the business. It would be like if you already showed someone a Transact card and they weren't interested. But I figure at this point, I can practice on her. So there's nothing left to do here. She already basically said no. I go, Jody, do me a favor before you go to bed tonight. I go, you told me you want to be an actress, right? Yeah, I want to be an actress so bad. I go, let me ask you a question. If you don't become an actress, I just want to know how you feel about your life today. So she gets out of my car, 6 o'clock in the morning. I wake up. I had a flip phone at the time. I'll never forget my phone. I flipped it open. My phone's blowing up and I answered a phone and she called me a really mean name. She called me an a-hole. She goes, you're an a-hole. And I go, who is this? 6 o'clock in the morning. And she goes, you. And I'm like, Jody, what's wrong? Are your legs in that much pain where you're mad at me for the workout last night? Like, she goes, no, you asked me how I felt about my life. And my eyebrows went up. I go, oh, yeah, I did. She goes, and I hate you for it. I hate my life. I hate being a school teacher. The only reason why I became a school teacher is because my mother said you should become a school teacher. It's the only reason why I went to school for 8 years to get a master's degree. And I hate kids. And I go, well, I'd hate to be a parent of one of my kids in your class. I go, you hate kids. That sucks. And she goes, I hate it. And if I had to do this for the next 5 years, I'd be miserable. That's why I want to be an actress. I go, let me ask you a question. I go, do you want to be an actress because you love to act? Like, have you been in theater? Do you get like a thrill of being in front of crowds and making them feel emotion and do a great? She goes, I've never acted before. And I go, you've never acted before? But I go, now you're really blowing my mind here. I go, what do you like about acting? And she goes, just forget it. I go, let me guess. I go, you like the fluffy dog walking up and down Rodeo Drive, buying $1,000 purses, and you want to have the lifestyle of an actress, don't you? And she looked at me and she goes, yeah, or said, she goes, yes, I do. And watch where I go from here, guys. And when you ask me what's the number one thing I learned from Richard, this was it. And this is different from every person you will ever meet in network marketing. I promise you, nobody is going to teach you what I'm teaching you. But I also promise you, if you take this and run with this, you won't believe how successful you're about to be with this business. Most people send a video, send a text message. They pitch people. I want you to know about this thing. It's Transact card. And it's a green card. You save money. You double your money. All that stuff is important, but it's not important up front. What's important up front is getting a person to take a good look at their life. And I found out real quickly how powerful this lesson was. I go, Jody, can I ask you a question? If I can show you how to have the lifestyle of a famous actress without having to go to Hollywood and sleep your way to the top, because that's what a lot of women do and a lot of people do, would you be open to hear about it? She silence on the phone. She goes, yes. And she said it with intensity. I go, and I felt silly saying this. I go, I'm having a meeting tonight. It's Thursday night at my friend Jeff's house, and I'd like you to be there. I'll be there. What's the address? Types her address. She shows up. The meeting was identical to the one I just did 3 days before. It was the same exact meeting presented by the same two people, me and a guy by the name of Todd. Except this time, guys, what did I do differently? I got her to take a look at her life first, and she knew she was open for an opportunity. What didn't I do the first time? I didn't find out where she was in her life, which is why when she saw the presentation, she didn't get it. So just know this. Some people, if you just hit them with it real quick, they don't know what they're looking at. And then you wonder why they're not joining you. But it's you that didn't do things, in my opinion, the right way by taking your time to find out where this person was in life to see if they're even ready for a business opportunity like Transact Card. She jumped up within 15 minutes with her credit card in her hand, and she signed up for $1,500 in the blink of an eye. And I went home that night. I called Richard. I go, Richard, you're a genius. You're a freaking genius. He goes, what did I do? I go, Richard, remember you told me to find out where a person was in their life first. More importantly, have them take a look at their current situation in life before you show a business opportunity. He goes, Michael, I enrolled 43 people in New Skin. 43. And I turned those 43 people into 560,000 people. He goes, you know how I did it? I found out and I pushed the button and I scratched away at those first 43 people, because when they were ready for the business opportunity, I knew they were serious. He goes, and those 43 turned into over 500,000 people, and I made over $100 million. And that's my story. You don't need to go sign up 1,000 people in Transact Card. You just need about 43 of the right people to build this thing. And the only way you're going to find out if you have the right person is if you do it the right way, which is, in my opinion, talk to the person, get to know the person. And before you ever mention a word about this business, sit with them long enough to have them take a look at their life. And either, Richard, say this to me, either they're ready for a change or they're not. Either they're ready to make a difference in their life and do something different, or they're going to keep staying on that same path that's got them miserable. And I happen to believe most people are miserable right now. They just won't admit it to themselves because it's toxic, right? Most people think they love their job. They don't love their job. A lot of people think they love their life. They don't love their life. I always ask people, if money wasn't an object, you could do whatever you want to do, would you go to work tomorrow morning? And most people say, nope. That's how I know the answer. Most people, given the opportunity to do whatever you want to do, the last thing you'd be doing is reporting to your job, punching a clock and earning your wage. Or if you're in small business, maybe that's still not all that it's cracked up to be. But this business, if you get it off the ground, there's nothing like it. And if you're going to get it off the ground, you're going to have to learn some things. And that's what I'm here to do, is to teach you some things. Whether or not you choose to follow the system and apply these things, that's totally up to you. But my promise to you is, if you do the things that I teach you, I'm not a rocket scientist and there's nothing extra special about me. I was extremely coachable when my mentor took me under his wings. And when I did what he asked me to do, magic happened all around me. He said, you keep doing these meetings like this, Michael, next thing you know, you're going to have to go rent out a hotel. Sure enough, within 4 months, I was renting a hotel. Started out with 50 people, then 75, then 100. Every Thursday and every Saturday, within 12 months, I got it up to 350 people on a Thursday night, 400 or 500 people going through these trainings that you're hearing tonight every single week in Las Vegas, Nevada. And then my team started to grow around the country, and I had to fly all around the country to take this show on the road to teach people how to do what he taught me how to do. But here's one of the problems that we have in front of us, and I'll end with this. There's a lot of people that happen to believe that the only way to build this business now is online. That's it. It's got to be Zoom. Baloney. You're about to watch me build a business in New Mexico so big that I'm going to get notice of everyone in this company, because I'm going to start doing meetings with 10 or 20 people out here when I get them enrolled, and I'm going to have them meet at my house. They're going to come here. Not going to serve them food. I'm going to have coffee and water. I'm going to present Transact Card, and I'm going to build a local team here in New Mexico, Albuquerque and Santa Fe. And when it gets big enough, I'll rent out a hotel once a week and have 100 to 200 people show up for a local Transact Card business meeting. Will I still do Zooms? You better believe I'll do Zooms. But I'll show you what I'm doing in my backyard to encourage you to do the same thing that I'm doing in my backyard, in your backyard. So now that we're building these pockets of people locally all over the country, and then when we finally come together as a group, it'll be pure magic. Pure magic.
That's amazing, Michael. Wow.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank
Absolutely.
you so much, Michael.
Here's
You're
the answer from Colette.
What'd she say?
Yes, people can sign up their businesses on the business side, but they can't connect it to a bank yet because we don't have the business banking yet. So you can do that, but it's not going to connect unless we have the business bank account when the bank comes on.
I'll do it again.
Yes, people can sign up their businesses on the business side, but they can't connect it to a bank yet because we don't have the business banking yet. So you can do that, but it's not going to connect unless we have the business bank account when the bank comes on.
Okay, you guys got the answer?
Got
Or
it.
need it one more time?
Got it.
Now, what we got to do with on the team level, Annabelle, is we got to get these weekly Wednesday and Saturday meetings up. Every Wednesday and every Saturday, guys, I'm going to be joining you guys in some capacity. Some days I'll be teaching. Some days I'll step aside to watch Annabelle and Colette teach. When the team wants me and calls on me and needs me, I'll be there. But we want to group together on Zoom the same way we would if we didn't have a local home system, which we want to create that too. So I call it high tech, high touch. High tech, high touch. Let's use this technology because we've had a great night together, almost 2 hours, 10 people on the line. Hopefully you shared some things that made a difference in your business. And every single time you come back, you're going to learn some more. But the key is don't just be in learning mode, be in doing mode. Make that list of 10 people, call them up and do what I told you that Richard used to do. Hey, listen, Annabelle, I'd really like to get together with you. It's really important. Mike's everything okay? Everything's fine. I just saw something the other day. It's got me really bothered. Got me really excited, whatever adjective you want to use. I'd like to sit down and remember these 2 words. Too important. Susanne, it's too important to tell you about right now. That's why I want to get together with you and have a serious meeting. This is big business. Treat it like big business. Don't treat it like small business. This is business. There'll be people in this company making $2 million a month, I believe, in the next couple of years. That's big business. Don't treat it like small business and it won't pay you like small business. Take it more seriously. Pretend like you're building vice presidents around a conference table in your local city and make sure if anyone's going to build a business in your town, it's you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Now, if this is too intense for you, I understand. Not everyone wants to be a big leader. Not everyone wants to make X amount of dollars. But I happen to believe that if you stuck around for an hour and 53 minutes, you're probably pretty serious about the business.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to what I said in the beginning. This is not easy, but it's simple. You're going to face a lot of rejection, a lot of temporary defeat. But if you build it the way I'm teaching you, you're going to be on the rise the whole time and your organization is going to keep swelling and growing so you can deal with the defeat a little bit better when you have a business and you got money coming in, right?
Right. Mm-hmm. Annabelle, would you do us all a favor? In case you all don't know, Michael mentioned Wednesday night, Saturday. So Annabelle, would you elaborate on the family night, Z-Team?
The family night is, Colette Daniel is over that, and also our Super Saturday. Okay, and both are about half an hour long because the intention is we need to get on the corporate call, right? So Super Saturday for Z-Team is at 8 a.m. Pacific to 8:30. And then 9:30 is corporate, Transact Card, right? The wonderful thing about Z-Team is we teach all the daily method of operation that Michael has taught us, right? The system, because that's how we duplicate, right? And then on Wednesdays, it's family night because Michael has taught us about the high touch. Yes, we're online, but this is where we really, really connect because you can send videos all day long, but what you're sending is truly a concept. The connection and the magic always happens here because the eyes are the windows to the soul. That's why I don't even really believe in three-way calls. When I can't see a person, I use FaceTime. Okay, because when a person also hears the word Zoom, sometimes they retreat. But if you say, let me FaceTime you, let me messenger you, because there's a camera there. For the ones that have WhatsApp, let me WhatsApp you. And it's a beautiful tapestry because WhatsApp lets 4 people be on camera. You connect there. Okay, so that's the power of the true people connection that Michael is talking about, that high touch, right? Yes, he's talking about live, and that happened at the event. We came together at the the official launch. For the ones of you that were there, we got to meet you for the very first time. We got to hug you, right? Nothing beats that, right? Not even AI. AI is really something that just takes information from the human being. but they can, once it stops there, I mean, if it's not fed data, it's not the human being. The human being is the human being, right? We connect. So, I mean, I hadn't seen Michael when we went to Colette's retreat. What's that? It's been about 4 or 5 years. And I was able to see him. Oh my God, it heightened me being able to hug him again and kiss him and be with him. And right? That surpasses me seeing him here. Okay, it's no difference with the Transact card business, right? And when Michael says about asking people about their life, yes, absolutely. But I also do a thing called the treasure, reach for the treasure, which means that when you start talking to a person, you don't start talking about Transact card, right? The treasure for me is to pick a memory that you have with that person. Usually, if we're, this is not cold calling, but if you're touching with a colleague, let's say that you worked with, what did you do last with that person? Right? So let's say if I was seeing Michael and I wanted to introduce him now to another business, not Transact card, but something else, right? Well, I saw him at an event, so I would bring that up. Michael, remember that I saw you at the event? Oh my God, Michael, you look so handsome. I like that jacket that you were wearing. And I can't believe how incredibly, healthy you look. I know you had that heart attack. And I start warming up to a story that he can relate to and the commonality that I have with him. So that's reaching for the treasure, reaching for the buried treasure. Okay, to talk before I even mention whatever I'm doing, right? I get his dopamine going, right? Dopamine is the hormone of to make the person happy, right? So
Yeah.
I know that I can get him happy without having to talk to him. And then I'll say, hey, I want to share something, but it's too important because I'm not a prophet in my own land. I pass, pick, pass, present to
right.
my power line, right? And he taught us the 3 E's. This was brilliant. That's the first time I had ever heard it was from my mentor, Michael Zappa, which is be excited, right? Be enthusiastic when you meet people, right? About anything, just about life. Be excited, be a light, be your music, be that energy, right? That's why I always connect with him because like attracts like, right? Then number 2, I'm going to edify. He looks so nice. He edified me this last time he saw me. He told me I look so great. I look beautiful in my dress and all that. He just made me feel special, right? We made each other feel special. And number 3, he was exclusive to me, meaning he was looking at my eyes. He was, rubbing my shoulder, right? It was amazing. I had never met Brian Howard, which is also from our Z team, and I had met him at our prior opportunity that Michael was over, Z team, and I haven't met the beautiful Brian Howard. I got to meet him, but you know what I did? He was sitting down and somebody told me Brian Howard is there. This is the second day, almost over of the event. And I just go up to Brian behind, and because he knows me so well from Zoom and working together, all I did was I went like this to his back, and then I drew a heart about 3 times on his back. And then he said, Annabelle, that's you. Because we had been talking for so long, and I'm always sending him hearts of how I love him, and I think he's so dear, and I had never met Brian Howard. So that's how it happened with Steve. That's the very first time. I can't even pronounce his last name, but it begins with a Y. Yeah, I know who that who I'm talking about. Yeah, him, Mark Langley, very first time, right? And then I got to see my Z family that used to be my Team U family, like Jeff and Susanne connect with Jeff, right? Myers for the very first time. So it's really, really all about that, you guys. So that's my little, reach for the buried treasure. So if I talk to him, what warms Michael's heart? His son. I know that, right? So I'm going to talk about Anzio, but I'm also going to be genuine because I've been following Anzio's adventures on YouTube and putting likes on that. How is that going to make Michael feel as a father that I pay attention to his son, right? But I generally do because I have a grandchild and I know how special that would be to me. And what can you not love about Anzio? He is the depiction of Michael Zappa. He's even got that personality, right? So anyway, but I hope that helps a little bit.
That helps a lot, Annabelle. That helps a lot. And you piggybacked on what I was hoping to share with you guys earlier about how I was prospected into network marketing. We didn't get into Path Changers or the Pillars, but next time we talk, we'll go there. But when Warren...
But you did when you said about, where are you with life, right? I hate my life, right? Everything's off balance, all the pillars.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. But we'll dig into that concept next time we talk. But with Warren approached me, and still to this day, when I see him, I look at him and go, "You have no idea how good you are." One of the hardest parts about this business is getting someone to take a look. It's the whole thing, getting someone to take a good look. But what he did magically with me was he said, "I like you." Guys, you know what I say to a lot of people that I meet? I like you.
Yeah.
It made me feel so good about me when another human said, "I like you." I meet people all the time in the car business when I'm sitting across from someone and I'm having a nice flowing conversation. I'm like, "You know what, Carol, I really like you. I like your personality. I just want to tell you, I work with a lot of people and not everyone is pleasing as you. I'm enjoying myself just getting to know you. I want to help you. If you want a car, I'm going to help serve you here. But I like you." And I do that. Why? I repeat that because it stuck with me. He told me he liked me. I tell other people I like them. We should tell more people that we like them. And don't tell people you don't like them, because that wouldn't be good. And then when he looked at me and said, "Man, I love the way you train your clients." Once again, he made me feel important. He made me feel unique. He made me feel special. So by the time he asked for something from me, which is, "Hey, do you happen to keep your business options open?" I like the guy so much that the answer is yes. Yeah, of course I do. "Would you like to meet a friend of mine who's a multimillionaire?" He edified, the 3 E's, edification, excitement, exclusivity. He built up somebody. I said, "Yeah, I'd love to meet a multimillionaire. When you want to meet him?" "As soon as you want to go." 7:00 that night, he picked me up at my house and we drove to Jerry's house. So know that every time you approach whoever's next on your list, don't forget to make them feel special. Just piggybacking on everything Annabelle just said. Say, "Hey, you know what, Annabelle? If I was bringing it, Annabelle, I loved working with you in our last program. I love you. I want to build something again. I think I may have found something. I might be wrong. It might not be for you, but I think you're amazing. When can we get together? When can we talk?" I'm not just saying I found this thing. I got to make Annabelle feel special in this invitation. Otherwise, don't even bother inviting someone to take a look.
When I joined Transact Card, this is a true story, and Colette will tell you. Colette texted me, okay? I was moving to my home that I have now, okay? And I said, "Colette," I said, "it's not a good time. I'm moving," okay? And literally that night, I got on Facebook, and who was there yapping? Michael Zappa about not saying Transact Card, and I got FOMO. Fear of missing out. And I called back, "I'm not that busy." "What is Michael doing? I want it." I didn't even have to know. And I said, "Sign me up, Colette." But it wasn't, so you can imagine the impression. It's not that Colette didn't, but I didn't know that Michael was involved. The minute I found out Michael was involved, I'm like, okay, because she didn't mention, and I was just in a hurry, and I'm moving, and I'm doing boxes, and I just happened to get on Facebook, and he's talking. I said, "Colette, is it what Michael's talking about?" And she goes, "Yeah." I said, "Okay, I have time." And she didn't even get to finish whatever. I said, "Just sign me up, Colette. Put it on. Michael's on, I'm on." Because I know how he leads. So, and the rest is history. On my way to senior VP and president, right around the corner. Because really, of the mentorship of this gentleman, the music that he represents, it is contagious, you guys. He's really, really amazing. He really, really is.
Thank you, Annabelle.
Well, thank you
And
all.
no drama either.
Oh,
And
no.
I love that about Michael Zappa.
Mm-mm.
Zero drama.
Can't have another heart attack. Suzanne, I hope this was what you were hoping for tonight, and let's do it again if you want to. The ball's in your court.
More than. Thank you all so very much for taking time out. Extraordinary. So we'll meet again. Here we go. Mary dropped off. Just let me get her back in. There you are. Good deal. Okay, you can hear us, Mary?
Yes, I can. I'm sorry. I accidentally got off the call.
That's okay. That's okay. I was just thanking everyone for taking time out. I know I have pages of notes. I hope you all took notes as well. Same time next week.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
let's start a group text message with your whole team.
Okay.
I don't know if you can do that with everyone because you got a lot of people.
Right.
Suzanne,
I kind of did groups, but I can do it all in one. Mhm.
yeah, and you have the team and then you have your team, okay?
Uh-huh.
And obviously you're a leader, Suzanne, so Annabelle and I are supporting you because we recognize your leadership. Keep your team tight.
Yeah.
Okay?
Mhm.
Plug into the team, that would be the Z team.
Right.
Plug into the corporate team. There's a lot of stuff to plug into. My advice to you as you all build your team is know where you need to be and where it's okay, meaning you can't be on every Zoom and every call. It's impossible. But
Right.
as you run your organization, Suzanne, you got to keep your team together. I would say at least do one night a week, and it can start out with me and Annabelle
Mhm.
and Colette popping in here and teaching you what you want to learn here to get you really rocking.
Okay.
And have one team night. I think Thursdays might be better for me.
Okay. Okay.
Just so you know, I really like taking Thursdays off from my job, and if I have the whole day to prepare for you guys and
Fair.
we can get on a Thursday night, that works well for me.
How does that, just amongst us right now, is Thursdays a good time?
That works
Yeah.
for me.
It
That
is
works for me.
works for me.
Okay.
Definitely.
Now I know, okay, so now we won't be rushing because I know that we were talking about maybe starting later. We've got the East Coast folks. East Coast, you take a brunt. Hey, Dr. Linda, go ahead.
Yes. Will they be recorded? Because I do have a commitment on Thursday nights.
You do? Okay. I'm going to record everything.
Okay.
Is it standing every week?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's kick around the idea, find out what's best for the majority of the core group right now, and I'll make it happen.
Okay. We'll do that. So in the meantime, this next week, could we go ahead and meet on Tuesdays, or do you want me to go ahead and reach out?
Let's do Tuesday night again next week, and then let's just work on really organizing the system. That's all.
Okay.
And if I can do a very strong recommendation, our family night, that's half an hour, and our Super Saturday Z team, it's that philosophy. It really, really is. So I know the corporate is teaching amazing, amazing things, but really the path changer way, which is Michael Zappa, is Z team. So I would highly encourage everybody to be that. And of course, corporate too. But it's really the teachings of Michael on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Okay. Which he's going to be more of.
Corporate's recorded as well in our back office. So before we wrap up the evening, Joey, thank you so much for your comments in the chat. You made a comment about one per day.
Yes, from Michael, but that was Michael's suggestion. I like that. It's not overwhelming. It's totally obtainable. And I think if you really set that as your goal and did it, I mean, that's 30 contacts a month. That would be tremendous.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it will be. I'm just, that's my goal, Joy. One new person a day amongst everything else I got to get out to at least one new person myself every day.
For sure. For
And
sure. I'm going to piggyback you on that.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Any other questions tonight? Anything before we wrap up? All right. Well, thank you so much, Michael. This is recorded and I'll just continue having this archived. Gosh, Annabelle, thank you so much. I mean, guys,
You're very welcome. I do want to close out with this. My mentor has always said, and we have the famous picture that we do like this. I don't know if you saw it, but the future is bright. He would always leave us with that. The future is bright, you guys, with Transact Card and with ZT.
Yeah.
So everyone look off to the left. On the count of three, look off like this angle right here, like you're looking at, like, can you do it?
Everybody do it because
And then point,
I'm
point,
gonna
you guys.
capture, I'm gonna
Put the
capture
point.
it. And everyone's pointing in a
Capture it.
different direction, which is hilarious. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I got a picture of it.
All right.
Did you send it to me, Michael?
I will.
That'll be our,
I
that'll
got
be
the,
our
I don't know if you guys saw
screenshot.
it, but I was on the elevator with him and Colette, and I said, we got to do it. And I got it done. I didn't see anybody do it, but we did it.
I took a picture of you. I do have it, so I'll
Yeah.
have it ready for next time. Okay.
Yeah. So that's iconic of Michael. The future is bright and our luck.
El futuro es brillante.
El futuro es brillante.
Sí.
Así es, con CT.
Love it.
Con
Guys, we'll
equipo.
see you all. We'll see you all next Tuesday night, and I'm hoping that the group grows
Yeah.
between now and then. So let's make it
Oh,
happen.
definitely. There's
All
no
right.
hope.
Thank you,
There
Michael.
is
Thank you.
trust. That's
You're welcome.
right.
God
Thank you
bless
so much. Thank you,
Welcome.
Michael.
you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Thank you, Annabelle.
Thank you.
Good night,
Thank you
everyone.
all.
Happy
I
Thanksgiving.
care and